Welcome to our video on why Carl Jung warned us about our shadows. In this video, we will be discussing the concept of the shadow, as defined by Carl Jung, and how it can manifest in our lives. We will also explore how understanding and integrating our shadow can lead to a more fulfilling and healthy life. So, whether you're aware of it or not, the shadow is a part of you, and in this video, we will show you why it's important to own your dark side before it's too late. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of Carl Jung and the shadow. Have you ever found yourself acting in ways that you don't understand or can't explain? Or maybe you've noticed patterns in your behavior that you're not particularly proud of. Well, according to Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, these behaviors may be connected to something he called the shadow. The shadow is made up of those parts of ourselves that we may not want to acknowledge or accept. It's the dark side of our psyche, the repressed thoughts, emotions and impulses that we may not be aware of or don't want to admit to ourselves. Now, before you start thinking that this sounds like a bad thing, let me tell you that the shadow is not inherently negative. In fact, Jung believed that the shadow can be a powerful source of creativity, but only if it is acknowledged and understood. The problem is that when we don't take the time to understand and integrate our shadow, it can control us, rather than the other way around. This can lead to a host of problems such as unhealthy relationships, addiction, and mental health issues. And this is why Carl Jung warned us about our shadows. He believed that the only way to overcome the negative effects of the shadow is to become aware of it and to integrate it into our lives. One of the ways that the shadow can manifest is through projection. When we are not aware of our shadow, we may project those repressed thoughts, feelings, and impulses onto others. This can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and unhealthy relationships. For example, if we are not aware of our own anger, we may project that anger onto others and blame them for our feelings. Another way that the shadow can manifest is through repression. When we repress parts of ourselves, we are not allowing them to be expressed or understood. This can lead to feelings of emptiness, dissatisfaction, and a lack of fulfillment in our lives. For example, if we repress our need for intimacy, we may find ourselves feeling lonely and disconnected from others. The shadow can also manifest in our behavior, particularly in our self-destructive behavior. When we are not aware of our shadow, we may engage in behavior that is harmful to ourselves or others. For example, if we are not aware of our own feelings of low self-worth, we may engage in self-destructive behaviors such as substance abuse or eating disorders. So, how can we apply Carl Jung's shadow theory to our lives? Step 1. Awareness. The first step is to become aware of our shadow. This can be difficult, as we may not want to confront our dark side. However, by becoming more self-aware, we can start to identify the parts of ourselves that we have repressed or rejected. This can be done through practices like journaling, meditation, or therapy. Step 2. Accept and integrate. The next step is to accept and integrate our shadow. This means acknowledging and accepting the parts of ourselves that we have been repressing or rejecting, and finding ways to integrate them into our conscious selves. This can be done through practices like self-reflection, forgiveness, and compassion. Shadow is not just about negative traits and emotions, but it also includes positive traits and emotions that we may have suppressed out of fear or insecurity. So, it's also important to embrace and express these positive aspects of ourselves. It's important to remember that owning our dark side is not about embracing negative behavior, but rather it's about understanding and accepting all parts of ourselves. The shadow is not something to be feared or denied, but rather something to be understood and integrated. By doing so, we can live a more fulfilling and healthy life. In short, the concept of the shadow is about understanding the parts of ourselves that we may not want to acknowledge or accept. It's important to take the time to understand our shadow and integrate it into our lives in order to live a more fulfilling and healthy life. So, before it's too late, take the time to own your dark side and understand why Carl Jung warned us about our shadows. Thank you for taking the time to learn about Carl Jung's concept of the shadow. I hope that this information has been helpful in understanding how the shadow can manifest in our lives and how we can work towards integrating it. Remember, owning our dark side is not about embracing negative behavior, but rather it's about understanding and accepting all parts of ourselves. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on psychology and self-improvement.